Romanian General confirms reptilian extraterrestrials. He's a retired Romanian general and an expert in radiological radar technology. He's also a doctor in geophysical war. And right now, presently, he occupies the following positions. He's an advisor to the Romanian Parliament on unconventional issues and asymmetrical threats. He's the director of the Special Situations and Research Center on UFOs and Psychotronics. He's also the founder of the Association for the Study of Unidentified Aerospace Phenomena, and he's the author of dozens of esoteric books. General Emil Strainu is his name, and he's invited to the most important esoteric events in the world. He wrote dozens of books spreading true knowledge, and he speaks about extraterrestrials, intraterrestrials, and hundreds of other interesting subjects. He always claimed that the reptilian extraterrestrials exist, that they have huge underground bases that are underground cities, and nothing more. Each time he concludes saying, "I'm not going any further on this subject." After reading Aryan Hava's books titled Inuaki, The Reptilian Within Me, Confessions of an Extraterrestrial Soul, General Strainu contacted her because he had a mind-blowing story to tell, and she was about to launch her third book on the subject, entitled Anunnaki versus Anunnaki, or An-Unak-Ki versus An-Unak-Ki. This is how he ended up writing the book's preface. In the introduction, he speaks about a good friend of his who had seen two reptilian entities in the early morning. At an early morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, in the Retezat Mountains, which are a group of mountains in the Carpathian Mountains. The Carpathian Mountains is where we have the Romanian Sphinx as well. A very ancient spot. Very mysterious spot. It's in the Bucegi Mountains, the Carpathian Mountains of Romania, and it's said that they have discovered an alien base there for ancient giants in the summer of 2003 during an unexplored area of the Bucegi Mountains. But that's another video that we'll come into. Before I go any further, I have to explain to you and apologize, but that screeching, hissing noise that you hear are the crickets outside of my living room window. It's a little bit warm here in Athens, Greece, and it's their time for their singing their little cricket songs, and I can't do anything about that. I'm sorry. Well, let's just try and enjoy it. Going back with the article concerning the generals, the Romanian generals Anunnaki and Nephilim reptilians. The events took place as follows. The high-ranking officer, let's call him Colonel X, was driving back from a short camping trip, which he took alone in the mountains. He was nearing to Bucharest, Romania's capital city, when his car signaled that it was low on gas, so he pulled into a small rural gas station. It was about 5 o'clock or 5:10 a.m., so nobody was around. Colonel X noticed a hacky Hummer with black windows parked outside the gas station with the engine on, but nobody was around the car. After filling up his tank, he paid and headed back to his SUV, but then he noticed that the driver's door of the Hummer was opened, and inside it he saw a reptilian being. The reptilian had no clothes, but it was wearing military boots. He, or it, was entirely covered with green scales, just like a crocodile, and had a lizard-type crest on its head. General Strainu saw that the reptilian, who was naked, had yellowish eyes, and the reptilian saw that Strainu was witnessing it and drove off. When the general went into the gas station office, he noticed that there were closed circuit cameras on the gas station, and he asked the employee if those cameras, the videos were working. The employee said no, they're just for show, so that they would scare anybody trying to rob the gas station away. As he left the gas station down the road, he saw the Reptilians Humvee, and he saw the two Reptilians were standing alongside their car arguing about something. He estimated their height to be about 2 meters tall. He noticed that the second lizard had no boots, no shoes, no clothes, and unlike the first one, he had a tail. This time there were cars and trucks on both sides of the highway. They were pointing at these two reptilians that were arguing alongside their Humvee, and Strain decided to stop and take out his cell phone, and he took images, he took photographs of them. However, the images on the cell phone were not at all successful. They were just a greenish yellow light. When they tried to process the images, that again was not successful. They could not obtain images of these reptilians. Now, I found a link on Wikipedia concerning General Emilu Strainu, and it's in Greek, so I'll try and read out the work and the writings and the articles that he's published. Geophysics and War, UFO, Parallel Universes, Swords of the God Mars, UFO Secret Military Files, Men in Black, Intelligence and UFO, Radio Electronic War, Psychotronic War, Geophysical War, a UFO for Hitler, Mission Elster, ELSTER, The Führer and the Last Weapon, The Ultimate Weapon, UFOs and Secret Missions, UFO, all investigators for UFO live a very short life. Well, I don't know what that means. Some kind of research for something cursed. Earthquakes that hit Romania that are not natural. And again, the Elster project. So that's a little bit of a briefing of I don't know what the Elster project is. We have to look into that. So he's dwelled into all these things, and he also has people around him that have been witnesses to reptilians in Romania. Now, concerning the scaly, rough-skinned reptilians, scaly, rough-skinned humanoids describe the appearance of these reptilian species from the Draco constellation and the Capella system. These beings have elongated heads and eyes with vertical slit pupils. Some of the reptilian hierarchy are albino white and not the usual green or brown. Some have conical horns midway between the brow and the top of the skull. For the most part, we're dealing with another species that is humanoid in shape, but reptilian in heritage. Their leader elite are the Draco and have special quote-unquote wings, which are flaps of skin supported by their long ribs. These can be folded back against the body, and they are also known as the dragon race, and their symbology usually includes a winged serpent. There are elements of their species that do not have wings. The soldier class and the scientists have no wings. They are all cold-blooded and must have a balanced environment to maintain body temperature. The soldier class of the species can bury themselves in the ground and wait long periods of time in order to ambush their enemy. If need be, they can survive on one very large meal every few weeks or even once a year. As a species, they're well suited for space travel due to their ability to hibernate. These reptoids have scales that protect them from moisture loss, and they have no sweat glands. The scales or scutes are much larger on their backs, making the skin waterproof. The scales elsewhere on their body are more flexible. They have 3 fingers with an opposing thumb. Their eyes are cat-like and large. They have twin nostrils at the end of a short stubby muzzle. They are mostly meat eaters. The mouth is more like the slit, but they do have teeth that are differentiating into incisors, canines, and molars, and they average from 6 to 7 feet in height. The reptilian amphibian humanoids have been interacting with Earth for ages. Many contactees and abductees repeatedly described an insignia of a flying serpent on the shoulder badge or medallion or helmet. The serpent race lives under the ground. The Draconian group is a confederation with subgroups, the serpent race from Sirius, and various crossbreeds. They set up bases inside of Venus, the Earth, and other locations. Earth is on their ancient space trade routes. The Draco are about 8 feet tall and have winged appendages coming out of their shoulders, dark scaly skin, and have glowing red eyes. They have the ability to fly and usually operate at night. These entities, as well as the elite of the other reptilian species that also have winged appendages, are the source for some of the legends of the past relating to gargoyles and valkyries. It's also apparent that some of the qualities ascribed to vampires have also been taken from these creatures. Some reptilians eat humans like we eat chicken. In the United States, there are great underground food storage rooms full of preserved human bodies. Sometimes the bodies are those of children, and it's not only children but also adults that reptilians eat. However, children are preferred because they are not poisoned with substances like caffeine and nicotine, alcohol, and other things that adults are saturated with. The reptilians don't seem to be dependent on humans as a food source, although part of their experimental work with us is towards the end of the future food supply production. When they become involved with crossbreeding humans and reptilians, they are not doing it for racial survival, but for the purpose of creating a subclass slave race within their own culture. These half-breeds are to be biological war machines and laborers, etc. They are to be someone else's property. Reptilians seem to have little regard for us as living beings, human beings that is. They think we are as ugly and repulsive to them as we ever portray them to be, and that we, the human race, are as valuable as weeds. However, they do seem to consider some of us valuable property. One gets the feeling they will continue to use us as they see fit, or if we ever become a real problem as a group, they would sooner wipe us out than deal with us. They do not fear humanity and consider themselves far superior to humans by all comparisons. They supposedly consider the surface of this planet to be poisonous, inhospitable environment, and they allow us to live here, since they live below the surface and in space. We and our surface environment function as physical buffer, or living shield around their home underground. I leave links below for you for this.